I don't know, I've climbed forever since since I started climbing with Scouts when I was a little kid, and I've climbed for 25, 6, 7, 8 years. It was all I did really, it was all I trained for, it was all I saved up for, it was all I went on holidays doing. It was all I did. And I climbed reasonably well. I went to university, and I only chose one university where you could go climbing. And I climbed sort of 3, 4, 5 days a week when I was at university as well. Yeah, I used to go all the time, and then my dad found out that I wasn't doing particularly well in my exams, so he took my rope and my harness and all my stuff away from me, but that just made me go soloing. So I used to go without a rope and without a harness, so I don't suppose he realised what he was actually doing, but he was making it sort of a bit more dangerous, but I loved it, and I got into soloing routes that way. Same for you, wasn't it? He took your fishing stuff off you, didn't he?
Yeah, he smashed my fishing stuff off.
Yeah.
I was too scared to go climbing.
But you went fishing?
No, I went fishing, yeah.
So he wasn't doing very well in his exams either, so he smashed all his stuff up and chucked it in the bin. Luckily he didn't smash mine up because it was probably too expensive.
Well, when I was young I had quite bad asthma, and I think my dad was always quite into the outdoors. He didn't have much time, but it was like, I think it was his excuse to get us into the outdoors. I had asthma, it did me good. And so we used to spend a lot of time walking up mountains, which we used to hate.
He had a bolt, and he just used to do stuff in his garage all the time. He took this massive bolt and he sprayed it gold, and I don't know when he did it, but he came to tell us that there was a golden bolt on the top of Grisdale Pike, and we'd get, what was it, a tenner?
It was probably a fiver each.
Probably a tenner between us.
Yeah.
If we went and got it. So we went and got it, obviously, the next day. On our own, wasn't it? Did we get dropped at Braithwaite? How did we get there?
We must have got, I think we maybe got dropped at the top of Winlatter actually.
Oh, that's cheating.
It's not that far, it's a couple of miles probably up from Winlatter, and it's probably about 6 miles back to Keswick. But, you know, it's a high mountain, and, you know, in the mist, it's a dangerous place to be if you don't know where you're going, especially if you're probably 10 and 8 years old or whatever.
We got the money there.
Yeah, we got the money.
I don't know really, we were made to go walking every weekend. It was a nightmare, you know, and when we weren't walking he'd take us for a bike ride around the lake, he'd make us ride around the lake. I remember loads of times like coming down hills on my old banger, getting speed wobble, falling off, then he'd turn around eventually and come back for me, you know. But we'd do that every weekend, wouldn't we, down the lake or go for blooming mountains.
It seemed like it, yeah.
I always used to pretend I was ill, but I'd never get away with it.
We kind of got used to early on knowing we would have to spend some of the weekend going for a walk, so we used to just want to get it out of the way as quick as possible, didn't we? So we'd have just got faster and faster.
Yeah, I'd say.
And we'd have run down to start with, and then it'd have just...
Well, he started us running, didn't he? Down, didn't he? Was it him or was it you?
I think it would have been just us.
Keswick Half Marathon I must have done, how old were you when you first did it? Young?
Yeah, I'd have been...
I
think the Cockermouth Marathon was the first one. We did that before the Keswick Half.
Did we?
Yeah. And I'd have only been 12 or 13 when I did
I was still at primary school.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you'd have been, yeah.
And yeah, well, I dropped out in the marathon. I ran from Cockermouth back way around the Bassenthwaite Lake to Keswick, to Braithwaite. And I dropped out because I was just couldn't really be bothered. And then I sat there for about half an hour and I thought, well, this is boring, I'm just going to carry on. So I carried on, and then I must have come about last, but still finished. 26, more than that though, isn't it? 26 and a half?
Yeah, 26 and a half.
I've got to count them all.
Like I say, it started off because of my asthma, and we did a lot of fell walking, so naturally I was good at school. There was a few who could, I'd be racing against, but generally I'd either be first or second in most things, from sprinting through to cross country. But I never really enjoyed it. I much preferred to play football, rugby, anything. And my running had totally stopped. And by the time I was 18, I was quite unfit relatively. I was just playing rugby for fun, and more probably getting into the social side of rugby rather than enjoying actually playing it. I got into fell running again because my dad, who'd whilst I'd been out of it, he'd probably started running more, and he challenged me to a skidoo race. He bet me that he could beat me, and I thought, there's no way he can beat me. And we did it, and I beat him to the top. I was struggling, but I beat him to the top, and I knew that, you know, I'd absolutely thrash him because downhill was my thing, but I put that much effort in trying to beat him that I ended up walking back and he passed me on the way back down, so he beat me.
No.
Yeah. And I think that was probably the biggest thing. That was never going to happen again.
Was that the impetus to do some training?
Yeah. I won my first British Championship race when I was 30. And I think, you know, although I'd been driven to improve, I got to a point where I wasn't improving anymore, and I was just really enjoying it. So I'd be drinking probably Friday night, Saturday night, maybe the odd Sunday as well, and just enjoying it. And then, you know, when I finally kind of settled down, you know, and I stopped drinking quite as much as you do, I kind of found another level. I'd be racing with a hangover, you know, best cure for a hangover, and just loving it and enjoying it, but probably not doing as well as I could have done. I did a lot more training, a lot more miles through the winter, and so I was kind of ready, and I had a few British Championship races lined up. I was going to focus on those rather than do all the local races. And on the day of my 30th birthday, there was a race that I particularly liked, the Sale Beck race around Buttermere. Everything went perfectly, couldn't have gone better in training, and you know, on the day, you know, everything was just perfect, and I won by a couple of minutes, and that really just changed my whole mindset from then on, because I knew that I could do it. And I think that had probably been the thing that was stopping me before. I can, you know, I've always been able to deal with pain, and you know, I guess in some ways I kind of quite like it. I love to push myself, you know. There's aches and pains and stuff which isn't nice, but kind of physical pain at your limit is okay. And you know, I must get some sort of buzz from it, adrenaline. But I think with both of us, you know, there's always a drive to be the best at whatever you do. And for me, running turned out to be the thing, you know, and it's the thing that I didn't enjoy when I was young, but it turned out to be the thing that I started to enjoy. Whereas, you know, Duncan got into his climbing, I can never really appreciate what Duncan did. I know he was awesome because, you know, I did go with Duncan, and I consider myself very physically strong, and I couldn't do what he was doing even in an indoor wall. You know, I knew, whereas I can always do a lot of pull-ups, I've got the strength, you know, just doing the kind of climbing moves and using your fingers and the coordination involved, it was just absolutely amazing to see what he could do. But I'll never be able to appreciate what he actually did. Partly because I was shit scared of heights, you know. And it just, I guess it wasn't my thing, but say we did go to indoor climb walls together a few times, and we were very low to the ground and there were big holes, I could do it, but as we got up, you know, above 12 feet, I'd get the wobble on, and then if there was any, you know, little holes, couldn't handle it at all. We did go on family holidays walking, didn't we? When we kind of left home, we reunited for my dad's birthday and went on holidays.
Oh, yeah, Spain and stuff.
And we'd do the walks, and you know, we'd mess around on boulders. Duncan could do a bit of climbing, I'd do a bit of running. But when we come to kind of rough descents, you'd kind of run down them, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I used to love running downhill. But just not running uphill, it's too hard.
And whereas
Too hard.
I was a lot more physically fit to be able to do it for long periods. On a short downhill, technical, rocky section, it was amazing how fast you could run downhill. You know, there's never anybody who can beat me down there. Nobody will leave me behind ever on any section anywhere. And, you know, I've raced all around the world against some of the best, and downhill, nobody can beat me.
Why is that? What do you do?
Just got fast.
Well, yeah, it's a mixture of coordination, strength.
Lets his brakes off.
Yeah, balance. But Duncan could beat me on a short section, on a rough. And I'd put that down to balance and coordination more than anything else, I think.
I don't think I'd beat him now. Unless it was like a cliff. I'd just fall off it quicker than he could. But no, well, yeah. Well, it is frustrating now, yeah, but not because of not being able to go running. I mean, that was never my thing. It's about, yeah, it was the whole, the climbing thing, you know, but I can still go. But I'm just useless, you know. But, so I still like it, you know, but I don't like it like I used to like it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I was just looking through my guidebooks to see when I started climbing hard routes, and you know, I was climbing E7s when I was in 1990. It's quite a long time ago, you know. And there were, I suppose, not millions of people were climbing them then. I mean, everything's changed now, and people are so much better now at climbing because they've trained indoors and they've done this and they've done that. I don't know how I climb outdoors pretty badly, really pretty badly, but indoors I can get to compare myself with other people, and I've been going to Eden Rock and. You know, well, yeah, I climb kind of like a fat girl now. I know it's not particularly politically correct, but I was following this girl around Eden Rock, and I was thinking, how on earth can she do this and I can't? And she was doing problem after problem after problem, and I was absolutely amazed. I was convinced she was cheating, so I kept following her around to see if she was, and she bloody wasn't. She was just better than me. But now, I get all the fear I need. I get all the more fear than I ever used to get on really scary routes now on easy routes, because the unpredictability isn't my physical ability, it's my physical inability now. It's like, you know, my legs might go funny or my head might go weird, I might go dizzy, and when I'm starting doing stuff that's a bit weird, I've got the old eyes on me and the old attitude. I still just push on. I just push on, and I found in the Dolomites I was just pushing on. And I was getting into bigger trouble, thinking, oh, this is going to end badly, and luckily it didn't, you know. I think it's just a bit too dangerous for me now, possibly, you know, because I've got the old attitude of just carrying on and forging on, and that's not the attitude to have when you're rubbish, I don't think. When you're alright.
In a sport like rock climbing.
Not really, you know, if you just push on when you're rubbish, you get into trouble, so. DIY. No, I mean, well, you know, I went from swimming to rowing to cycling my electric bike. I just do whatever I can do, to be honest. I just do whatever I can do. I mean, I like swimming, it's okay, but I've sort of done all that, I've had enough. And I like rowing, it's okay, I'll go again. But I'm not going to be as obsessive as I was. I was always trying to look for something that was climbing, to replace climbing. But there isn't anything apart from climbing. And climbing can't replace climbing for me, because it's me that's changed now, not the climbing, do you know what I mean? So.